Welcome to Gun Talk. My name is Dave, and I'm doing a video today on cleaning and lubricating your AR15 rifle. I've had a few people request this video, and I hesitate to do it because if you ask 100 different people how they clean and lubricate their rifle, you'll get 100 different answers, and none of them are wrong. I think in most cases the cleaning products on the market, they're all good. I'm not going to advocate one product over another, nor am I going to advocate one cleaning style over another. I'm just showing you how I do it and the products I use to do it. So let's begin by making sure our weapon is safe and clear. So I have nothing in the magazine well. My chamber is clear. Let's put our bolt forward. And let's separate our upper from our lower. Remove our bolt, charging handle, and we'll set our upper off to the side for now, and we'll begin working on our lower receiver. So the primary cleaning and lubricating product I like to use is called Ballistol. It cleans and lubricates. If I've got something a little heavier and a little grittier, like the bolt on your bolt carrier group, where you get a lot of carbon buildup, I may use a little CLP. I use a little light gun oil in certain places. I like to use gun grease on an AR. This is TW25B. And then on my triggers, I have a special lubrication that I use. It's ALG Go Juice that I like to use. Of course, I have cleaning patches from an old t-shirt I cut up. Just general cleaning and wiping down rags, and lots of Q-tips. For my cleaning my barrel, most of the time I'll just use a bore brush. If you haven't used one of these, it's on a string. You pull it through the barrel. The first part of it right here, if you can see it, has some copper bristles that'll scrub the grit out, and then further down as you go you'll put lubricant on that. It'll pull the grime out and help lubricate as it goes. If the barrel's especially heavy, I'll use some kind of a brush like this. It's a little heavier duty, and pull that through. But with the cost of ammo, I don't shoot that much to where it gets that dirty anymore, so a bore brush is primarily what I'll use for cleaning the barrel. So let's get started on our lower. And I know I'm going to get questions on this, so I'll go ahead and answer it. People are going to ask me what this little widget is right here. This is called an AccuWedge, and basically what it does is it stops the wobble or the rattle between your upper and lower receiver. Most mil-spec upper and lowers, you have a little wobble in there, unless you have a match set upper and lower, or you have a tightening screw in your lower, which will take out that rattle. But these are extremely inexpensive. I think you can go out on Amazon and probably buy a 10-pack for less than $15 or $20. But they work really well in reducing that rattle between your upper and lower. Let's go ahead and take that out while we clean it. To begin cleaning my lower, I will take a cleaning patch and I will get it wet with some Ballistol. And I'm merely going to wipe down the insides of the lower. There's not a lot that gets dirty in here. I mean, you get some carbon buildup in here and so forth. Spin our trigger forward. They typically don't get all that dirty. So I shot this gun the other day and I put about 100 rounds through it, and as you can see, it's not very dirty at all. And I like to spray a little ballistol here on my workbench, and I'll use that my Q-tips. And so I'll just clean a little bit around my trigger. So I've got a Timney drop-in trigger on this gun. Alright, so I've cleaned it for the most part. Just kind of wipe some of that ballistol out of it. Dry Q-tip, get some of this out. Swipe our trigger down a little bit. As you can see, my cleaning rag just doesn't have that much. It's got a little bit of grit and grime, but not that much. Alright. Dry some of that off. Alright, looks like I got some Q-tip fuzz in there. Get that out. Alright, so that's about all I'm going to do cleaning wise on this. So from a lubrication standpoint, let's start with our trigger. So I like to use this ALG Go Juice on my triggers. So I've got a curved pick here. It's a plastic pick. And what I like to do is just put a little bit of this lubricant on the pick, and I'll use that to lubricate the hammer where it engages with the sear. And that's about all I do for the trigger. Now on a normal cleaning, or lubrication I mean, I don't typically lubricate these very often. I mean, I do when they start looking a little dry. But for those I'll just use a little bit of gun oil. Put a drop on there and lubricate my takedown pin and my pivot pins. Now I would also lubricate here periodically this little groove where the pivot pin engages with the detent. I use gun grease here. I'll use this TW25 here just to lubricate that channel. This I think holds up a little better than oil. So you'd lubricate there and right there. Alright, so those are lubricated. I don't typically lubricate my safety lever. Some people may, but I don't. And I rarely put any lubrication on our bolt release either. Or just not a lot of friction involved in those areas. So that's about all I do from a cleaning and lubrication standpoint on my lower receiver. So now let's start cleaning our upper receiver. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the barrel, and I'm going to take my ballastol and I'm going to squirt that into the barrel. I'm going to tilt downward so it starts running toward the end of my barrel, and I'm going to rotate the gun just to coat all sides of the barrel as the ballastol runs down through there. Now I'm going to let this ballastol set for a while so it starts loosening up that carbon and other metals that get caught in your barrel. What I don't want to do is I don't want to leave the gun upside down like this. I don't want the ballastol to drip down into the gas block. So I'm going to set this to the side for about 10 minutes, let that ballastol do its work, and we'll come back and start cleaning the inside of the barrel out. Alright, so our ballastol's been soaking for about 10 minutes. At this point, I want to clean the barrel. So as I said before, if you have if you've used it heavily and you've got a lot of, or haven't cleaned it in a long time, you might want to use a stiffer bore brush like this. And maybe instead of ballastol, you might want to use CLP or something a little heavy duty. Again, I had about 100 rounds down this rifle. I used my ballastol, and I'm going to use a bore snake. So this is going to be a little hard to show on video, but we'll do what we can here. So basically I'm going to take and you always want to go from the chamber in to the muzzle. You don't want to work from the muzzle back toward the chamber. And I'm not going to be able to get this on video, but I'm feeding the bore snake down into the barrel. So I've got it in the barrel, and now I just need to pull it through. And like I said, we've got a wire brush on that bore snake in addition to the cloth material. I know that's shaky on video, but it's hard to hold it still and do this on camera. So I'm going to do about 3 passes this way. Okay, on my 4th pass, so I've done 3 passes to clean it. On my 4th pass, I'm going to put just a little bit of ballastol on the end of the bore snake, and this is just going to give us a light lubrication on the inside of the barrel between now and the next time we use it. So again, I apologize, this was not the easiest thing to capture on video, getting the length of my upper and trying to keep it in the frame. Alright, so our barrel is cleaned and lubricated now. Next I'm going to clean the area where the bolt engages with the chamber. This area right in here. So they make different brushes to do that. Here's one right here that you can use to clean that, and then there's another one that's kind of a soft, shaped like that, but it's soft material. Usually I don't use those typically. I generally just use patch cloths and Q-tips to clean that particular area. So I'll begin with a patch cloth, and again I'll spray some Ballistol on it. I'm just going to kind of wad it up in there like that. Then I take my pick and try to move that around in there. So they make these little star-shaped cleaning widgets for this area. I've tried those and don't particularly like them that much. So this will get some of that heavier stuff out initially. See, I got some of it out. And from this point, I just like using Q-tips, and I'll kind of, I broke that one, but I'll try to bend them a little bit to get a better angle, and then I just kind of rotate them down, getting the remaining bits of carbon and other fouling material out. So as you can see, the way I did it, gets that chamber area pretty clean. That's just using patches and Q-tips. Now I'm going to take another patch, get it wet with Ballistol again. And this time, now I'm going to clean just the insides of the upper. What I like to do is take a brush like this, and I wrap it, my cleaning patch around the brush, and then I just use the brush to clean these main surfaces. I'll use the small end of this brush to kind of get that channel right here. I can kind of use my fingers for the area a little closer here to the barrel. And for the area up in here, I'll use Q-tips for that. So I'll dip a little Ballistol up around the gas tube here. You're going to get a lot of carbon build up, to where most of it, I think, collects in your upper. So we're going to work on that till our Q-tips come out pretty clean. Alright, so I'm not getting a whole lot more off or a whole lot of carbon showing up on my Q-tip. I want a big glob. Alright, now we're looking pretty clean, so I'm going to take a dry patch and just kind of clean some of that ballast all off. And so our upper's looking pretty good now. So other than our barrel, there's really nothing to lubricate on the upper. So let's move on to our bolt carrier. Now let's clean and lubricate our bolt carrier group. This component of the rifle probably gets the majority of the carbon buildup and other fouling material on it, just from all the blowback from the gas block that it gets. So if you need assistance on disassembly of your bolt carrier group, you can reference some of my other videos. Now I'm not going to completely disassemble the bolt for cleaning. We'll move our extractor, and that's all I'm going to do for that. So first thing, I'm going to soak some of this down, ballastol. Especially this area right here. This gets a lot of baked on carbon. We'll need to scrape off. Okay. So let's work on the bolt carrier first. So they make a handy little tool called a Cat M4, which assists greatly with cleaning the bolt carrier. So what we can do, put a little ballastol on a cleaning patch. Cleaning patch over the entry to where our bolt goes. If you take this end, the Cat M4, you can insert it and just kind of twist and clean that area out. So the carbon, we pull out of there. Dry patch and run it through there. Okay, if we look down in there, that's pretty clean. So on this side of the bolt carrier, what I like to use is an old 9mm brass cleaning brush. I'll get that with ballastol, wrap it around my 9mm cleaning brush, and I'll push it all the way down Start twisting it from this side. And again, we're getting a ton of carbon off of that. And then we'll run a clean one through there. Okay. So we've got the majority of that out. And then on the exterior, take a cleaning patch, just put a little bit, I'm not going to put a ton of Ballistol on it, and I just kind of wipe that down. To remove where I've had the gun grease on it. And of course the carbon gets on that a little bit too. As you can see, it's not a ton. Alright, and we'll dry that off. Q-tip and kind of dry up under there where I can't my rag real well. Alright, so my boat carrier looks pretty good. Then let's clean our bolt up a little bit. So the other feature on this Cat M4 is this side, which is specifically designed to fit over this part of your bolt, and you twist it, it'll grind off that baked on carbon. If you've got any excess on there that you want to get off, you can always take a wire brush, brass brush, and clean it off a little bit more. However, that Cat M4 will get the majority of that baked on carbon off of your bolt. And I'm just going to wipe down the outside. Take my brass brush and I'll get these lugs a little bit. Then I will take some Q-tips and just kind of finish off some of these little spots on the inside of the bolt. Not a lot gets in there, but clean this area where you get some brass, copper, or whatever. The face of the bolt. If this was really bad, I would take out the ejector, but that would only be probably 1 in 15 or 20 cleanings I would do that. And that's more work for how dirty mine is than it is to do it. So I'm not going to do that. And let's dry it off, and I think we're looking pretty good. Okay, let's clean off our extractor a little bit. Again, this is another area where you might want to take your brass brush and kind of clean that area of the extractor that actually pulls the shell casing out. The rest we're just going to wipe down. Okay. Pin down, just wipe it down a little bit. And then our cam pin is pretty grimy. You can just wipe it down. And our firing pin retaining pin. Okay, so let's put our bolt back together. And now let's lubricate. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lubricate this area where the bolt goes. So I'm going to take just regular gun oil and I'm going to put a bit in there, and then I'm going to put some gun oil on my gas rings, because this area does a lot of touching. I want to make a good seal with the boat carrier. I'll put gun oil right in this area here as well. Alright, so now let's put our bolt back in. So you want your ejector at about the 5 o'clock position. That's going to line up the hole in your bolt with the hole in the bolt carrier. Now I want to lubricate my cam pin. This is an area where I use gun grease. Takes a lot. Your cam pin takes a lot of abuse, and I think the heavier gun grease holds up longer than gun oil. Some people say it accumulates or attracts more carbon and hangs on to it, and that may be true, but I'm more concerned about the lubrication than I am the collection of carbon. So this is the way I do it. Again, I don't think there's a right or wrong way. Alright, so I'm going to drop my cam pin back in. Rotate it 90 degrees. Now I'm just going to wipe off my firing pin. Alright, let's drop our firing pin in. Put our retaining pin in. Alright, so we've kind of worked in our gun grease, our lubrication around our bolt. So now I'm going to lubricate the parts of the bolt that come into contact with the chamber and the upper receiver. So I use gun grease in these areas as well. Oil will work fine. Again, I think the gun grease just holds up longer. So I'm going to lubricate the lugs that will interface with the chamber. Alright, so the only areas on the bolt carrier that come into contact with the upper receiver are these areas right here. Here, up here, and the same on the other side. So those are the only areas I really need to lubricate. And that's how I lubricate my bolt carrier. So last but not least is our charging handle. It gets a little gunk on it as well. So I just typically wipe it down a little bit with a rag first. Take some of my ballistol on a Q-tip and I'll clean out this inside groove of my charging handle. You can see this charging handle is kind of old. It's got a lot of scrapes on it, wear and tear, and that's a good indication of where we need to lubricate. So I use gun oil to lubricate my charging handle. I'm right-handed. This is a single sided release. It's not ambidextrous, this charging handle, so the pull, I guess, uneven pull, puts more drag on the side of the charging handle. So we see wear here, of course, on these little tabs here that slide in the grooves of the upper receiver, up in here, and a little bit on these edges right here. So that's where we'll focus our lubrication. So I just generally put a light coating on the entire charging handle. Focusing more of it on the where I see the areas of high wear. A little bit on my Q-tip and get in this area here. A little dab right there. And lastly, I just put a little bit on my finger. Might be a better way to do this, but I just put a little bit on my finger and I rub it on these little ends here. I don't want to over lubricate this, so notice when I shoot, if I get too much on here, the gas will start spewing excess oil out the back of the gun, so I don't want that happening. I don't want to get covered in gun oil, so I keep it pretty light. Alright, I think we're done with that. So all we have left is to assemble our rifle. So let's put our charging handle in first. Put our bolt carrier in next. Now some of that gun grease when I put this in is going to accumulate on the outside here, so I'll just take a Q-tip and remove that. Alright, and I'll just kind of work our lubrication in a little bit. And then we'll connect our upper and lower back up. So the last thing I do on my rifle after I've lubricated and cleaned the internals is I will just take a clean rag and wipe down the outer surfaces. Really the only dirt that I get on mine is mainly oils from my hand, and if I'm outside shooting I may get a little outside dirt, but I don't get a lot of contaminants or anything that I need harsher cleaning materials with on the outside. So generally just a clean rag, and that'll remove most of the oils and things from my hands. So that's how I clean and lubricate my rifle. Again, this is the way I do it. It's not the only way. There's 1,000 other ways to do this. All I'm sure are acceptable and proper ways to clean a rifle and keep them functioning for a long time in the future. If you like this video, I would appreciate if you would leave your comments and subscribe to my channel. Thanks and have a great day.